Yo, what is good, YouTube? You already know who this is. It's DFJ Hoops, man. I'm not gonna be on here for very long. I just want to recap the Sixers versus the Pistons game. I don't plan on doing a very long live today, but shout out to everybody watching this. Before I get started, shout out to my guy, play by play with JJ. Um, one of the best one of the best play-by-play announcers on his YouTube street. Shout out to him, Jason Joseph. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to RB from Philly Take with RB. Shout out to Sean Bernard. Shout out to DJ Eastwood, Mike Sports Vibe. Shout out to Mitch Kofsky. Shout out to my guy BJ from the Puller Basketball Podcast. Shout out to Rick and BJ. Y'all doing a hell of a job over there. Shout out to y'all. But let me not waste any time. Let me get into these comments right here. And shout out to my guy, play by play with JJ, like I just said. Shout out to Jason Joseph. He said, I'm not doing the Phillies game today. I've got bigger things on my mind, like calling the Heat game and watching the Heat and or Magic slash Cavs lose tonight. Hey, shout out to my guy Jason Joseph, man. Hey, I have a Cavs content creator, one of the people I'm closer to, Tuning Sports. He's a Cavs fan, so I don't think he's gonna take those comments very, very lightly, bro. But shout out to you, bro. And he says the game is starting in less than 10 minutes, but I care more about being ready for tonight's game. Baseball. Just like you told me, baseball is a grind. I mean, the games are every day. They don't really have 2 or 3 days in between. So yeah, baseball is a grind. But I hope you're not running from the grind. I hope you're not running from the grind, bro. But shout out to my guy Jason Joseph. I appreciate you for stopping by. But let me get into tonight's game right here and not waste any time on it. So the 76ers took on the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if this was the fourth time or third time. We've beaten them every time we faced them. I think this is the fourth time. I think yeah, we played them 3 times already. And Tyrese Maxey, Kyle Lowry, and KJ Martin didn't play in this game. Now, I think Maxey and Kyle Lowry were given off because they played extremely well against the San Antonio Spurs on on Sunday. So Maxey was given the night off. I mean, for scoring 52 points. I mean, yeah, giving him a night off, I don't really have any issues with it. Giving Kyle Lowry another night off, I don't have any issues with it. He's 37, 38 years old, so I mean, he's earned it. He's earned it. But KJ Martin, he plays some good defense against the Spurs. But I hope he's not hurt. I hope there's nothing wrong with him. He didn't play in this game. But one of the biggest surprises that we saw in this game was my guy DeAnthony Melton returned. Shout out to my guy DeAnthony Melton. Shout out to D Melt. He's one of my favorite players on the Sixer team, and he came back. He missed, I think, the last 21 games, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even more, because he was dealing with that back injury. And those back injuries are not anything to play with. And not to go off topic, but I think with Ben Simmons, he's dealing with a nerve impingement in his back. And that was something that he was dealing with. I know a lot of people forget about this. Some Sixer fans forget about this, but Ben Simmons was dealing with that same back issue back in 2020 before they shut the season down. I know, like I said, a lot of people are going to forget about this, but I remember this vividly. He missed some games and then came into the season and then got hurt again. So 4 years later, he is still dealing with this back issue. So that shows you that the back issues, back injuries are not anything to take lightly. Like if you're really dealing with some back issues, you should really take care of it. And just like DeAnthony Melton, he did miss some time. He came back and played, I think, 4 or 5 games, and the back was still bothering him. So he had to miss 21 or 22 more games. So I'm glad that he's back. I'm glad we have DeAnthony Melton back. I think the Sixers have some of the best guard play in terms of when you talk about depth. I mean, we have Tyrese Maxey, we have Kyle Lowry, DeAnthony Melton, Cameron Payne, Buddy Hield, Jeff Doughton Jr. I mean, we can consider Ricky Council a guard too because he's only 6'4". So the Sixers have some of the best. Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, they have some of the best guard depths in the NBA. I would say that for sure. I wouldn't say the best guard play in the game. Now, I'm not. I'm not gonna go as far as saying that, but let me get into tonight's game. Shout out to DeAnthony Melton. Like I said, I'm glad to see that he's back. And watching him on the basketball court, he didn't really seem to be in any sort of pain. He was doing some spin moves. He was going up strong for rebounds, and those are moves that you put your back into it when you do when you do moves like that. But seeing him, moving out there on the court like that, I was so glad because he wasn't showing any signs of injuries. But let me get into this game right here and talk about what happened. So we start the game off, and I mean the Sixers got the tip off, pause if necessary, and we ran our usual flip action into a DHO, a dribble handoff, and there was nothing open, so it ended up in the Sixers. It ended up in a Joel Embiid ISO from the three, which it's a very low percentage shot because he had to step back, and a 7 footer, your center stepping back for a three. I mean, sometimes he makes it, but it's not an efficient shot, and he ended up missing that shot. But I mean, this game right here, it just seemed like the Sixers could have went on the run anytime they wanted because the Pistons are not that great defensively, and at no point in this game did I think that the Pistons could slow down Joel Embiid, and they had no chance in stopping him. Uh, Let me look at these comments right here. JJ said I didn't even want to remember Benson. Yeah, but I was just trying to make a point about DeAnthony Melton's back injury. That's why I brought up Ben Simmons. Trust me, I don't want to remember him too, but I was just trying to make a point. But yeah, he said he was going in my head and proof he's back. I mean, Ben. I mean, let's not be on Ben Simmons. Let's not get on him. I mean, he's not any he's not any whatever he does has nothing to do with the Sixers at this point. So yeah, but just yeah, like I was saying, at no point did I think that the Pistons could slow down the Sixers. And the Sixers, Embiid was unstoppable. I mean, he was getting to the free throw line. He got Jalen Duren to pick up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter. Now, I like Jalen Duren, and I think he can get as good as Chris Bosh. I think that's the player comparison that I'm gonna go as far as to compare him to Chris Bosh. And people really disrespect Chris Bosh, but when he was with the Raptors, he was a solid big man. He was a solid 20 and 10 guy. But when he went to Miami, he had to sacrifice his game. But I think Jalen Duren can be as good as a 20 and 10 guy. I definitely see that. And the Pistons didn't have Kate Cunningham, so it made the job of the guards a little bit difficult. And I saw what you call it, Jaden Ivey. He did what he could. He was shooting threes. He was getting to the basket. He was making plays for others, but it was just not enough because this Pistons team is not good enough to compete with the 76ers. But um, like I said, the Sixers were unstoppable. And in the first quarter, we saw a lot of Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris two-man game. Now, Tobias Harris, this was his first game back too. He's been out with an injury. I think he was dealing with a knee contusion, something like that. I may be mistaken, but I think it's something with his left knee. I don't know why almost everybody on the Sixers team is dealing with something. I mean, a left knee. I mean, Kyle Lowry was ruled out. I don't think he's really I don't think he has an injury, but he was ruled with a left knee, something management or something like that. But we saw Tobias Harris out there, and he didn't play a lot of minutes. He only played 24 minutes in this game, and he didn't really look as his usual self because he's coming back from injury. But we did see a lot of two-man game between him and Joel Embiid. I was about to say Jobias Harris, but yeah, we did see a lot of two-man game between himself and Embiid, and they ran a couple of horn series, horns actions where Embiid positions himself on the elbow, and he receives a pass, and whoever passed it to him, in this case Tobias Harris. So when he passed it to Embiid, he receives a back screen and gets to the basket, and Embiid throws that bounce pass to him, and he scores easily off of that action. And the Sixers was really, scoring off those actions a lot. I saw him play that same. They ran that same action with Kelly Oubre. He ran that same action. I'm talking about Embiid. He ran that same action with Kelly Oubre. He ran that same action with what you call it, Jeff Doughton Jr. And the Sixers were capitalizing on it because the Pistons, for whatever reason, couldn't guard that action. Now, we saw Ricky Council check in the first quarter, and yeah, I was glad I saw Ricky Council in this game because these are the games that you want your youngsters to be playing because the Pistons are not a good team. And he checks in, and he did hit the first his first shot. His first shot was a what you call it? It was a three, and it was a buzzer beater 3-pointer to end the first quarter. And those are the minutes that we saw Ricky. Now they wasn't really running any actions for him, but I just think that we should find ways to kind of get these guys involved, especially against teams like this, because if you get him involved with the pro game, if you get him involved in when I say the pro game, I mean on the main roster because Ricky Council usually plays in the G League. But if we can get him acclimated on the main roster and run some actions for him, like let him feel involved, I think he can definitely develop faster. And I was glad that Maxi came out and made the statement. He said after every practice, he shoots a lot of threes with Ricky Council because he wants Ricky Council to improve in that area. And I was so glad that Maxi came out and said that because I need to call DJ Eastwood out on this one. So DJ Eastwood said he would pick Ricky Council over Tobias Harris in the playoffs, which I think that's I mean that's DJ being DJ. But me personally, I wouldn't pick a rookie I'm not gonna pick a rookie, Ricky Council the fourth over Tobias Harris, who's been in the playoffs. We've seen him in the playoffs, so we know what he looks like in the playoffs. But Ricky Council, we haven't seen him in the playoffs, so I'm not I'm not gonna go that far to pick Ricky Council over Tobias Harris. But Ricky, I've watched him play, and I watched him in the G League when they played the Maine Celtics. I was there with my guy JJ Jason Joseph. I was there with RB, and I was there with Sean Bernard, and we watched him play. And when you analyze his game, Ricky Council, he's a great, or let me not say great. I don't like giving Sorry about that, yo. I don't like giving the word great to any, regular players, but he's a good slasher. He attacks the basket. He can finish with either hand around the basket, but as a three-point shooter, he's not that great from the three. He's not great creating his own shot. He's not a great shot creator from the perimeter. He's not a great shot creator for his teammates. And yeah, I think these are the holes that are in his game, and that's why I don't think he's getting significant minutes with the 76ers. But I think if the Sixers give him some quality minutes, especially against bottom feeder teams like this, and they constantly play him and give him enough minutes, he can definitely work on his game and work on his weaknesses, weaknesses. I mean, and eventually turn them into strengths. And yeah, that's my only issue with what you call it, Ricky Council, because he's a great slasher. And when you get into the playoffs and teams are able to scheme, now I mean, first of all, he's not going to play in the playoffs because he's on a two-way contract. The only way he gets in the playoffs is if he gets his contract converted into a standard contract. But I mean, if you constantly go downhill and keep attacking the basket, teams are going to scheme for you. Teams are going to scheme that, and they're going to pack the paint on you, and they're going to force you to shoot jump shots. They're going to force you to, you know, they're going to force you to take, some tough mid-range jump shots and force you to be a playmaker. And if you don't know how to do that, if you're not a playmaker, if you don't have the midi in your bag, if you can't shoot the three, you will definitely be in a difficult situation in the postseason. I have a couple of comments here. Let me see. Uh, my guy Jason Joseph said, bro, Buddy Hield looked really good. That could be the difference in beating Boston. Yeah, he did. Now I'm gonna get to Buddy Hield in a few minutes right here. But I appreciate you for bringing that up though. Shout out to my guy Bruce Morrow. What up, Bruce? I appreciate you for stopping by. Appreciate you for stopping by. JJ said if Buddy starts making shots while Embiid, Maxi, and Oubre aren't hitting shots, Buddy makes a splash. Yeah, he does. I'm like I said, I'm gonna get to Buddy in a few seconds. Bruce Mars says the Pistons, man. I mean, Bruce, we have to play them, man. We got to go through them. But let's not sit up here. Let's not sit up here and act like the Pistons haven't beaten any playoff contenders. Like we're not, Bruce. We're not gonna do that. They have played. They have some good wins against some good teams, and they have definitely um pulled off upsets against some of the good teams. But I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna fight what you're saying though. I mean, they're not a good team, and I said this in the beginning. They're not a good team. That's why I really wanted the Sixers to put them away early, and they didn't do that. They kept they kept them in the game. Getting into the third quarter, they got as close as tying the game up. They were down by 1 point in the third, but the Sixers eventually chipped away and they ended up winning this game right here. But let me not get off track. Let me get into the second quarter right here. Um, the second quarter, came around, and that's when Embiid started drawing double teams. Now, Embiid did dominate in this game right here. Now, I got to give him his props. I got to give him his flowers. Embiid did finish this game with, let me see, 37 points. He had 11 rebounds and I think 6 or 7 assists, if I'm not mistaken. So looking at him right here, so 37 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. So that was good, but he played 35 minutes, and that's where I have an issue with, because I don't think you should be playing Embiid against the Pistons, that many minutes, because the Pistons are not a good team. And I expected Embiid to, I know Embiid wants to get 30 plus points. He wants to get his double digit rebounds. And we've seen him do that in less time. So that's what I expected. That's what I expected from him. I mean, just go in, do what you got to do, get your 30 points, get your 11, 12 rebounds or whatever, and sit down in the fourth quarter. But that didn't happen. They let this Pistons hang around, making it a ball game, and they eventually chipped away from them in the fourth quarter. But um Embiid getting double teamed and using his gravity to be a playmaker, that was really, really great. And like I said, they were running on some Horns actions with him and Tobias, him and Kelly Oubre, him and Jeff Downton. Jeff Downton had a great play with Embiid, and that was off that Horns action. And that Horns action, I haven't really seen the Sixers run that a lot. I mean, it's in the offense, but they don't really go to it a lot. But the Pistons were having trouble guarding it, and the Sixers kept spamming that same play. Now, sometimes the Pistons will kind of like anticipate that action coming, and so the Sixers will have to switch it up and go to another action, and that was really good, because the Pistons, people don't really respect the Pistons that much. But well, let me look at play. But he says a win. Yeah, Bruce. I know Bruce be trolling. So I mean, it is what it is. Bruce be trolling. I want that 60, bro. I'm gonna get to the seeding in a few minutes right here. I definitely will, and the Buddy Hield thing. But if they play Boston, I want more KJ and Ricky Council before. But like I said, Ricky Council's on a two-way contract, and two-way contract guys don't play in the playoffs. You have to get your you gotta get your contract converted into a standard contract before you can get on the court in the playoffs. But even if he gets his contract converted into a standard contract, I don't think Nick Nurse is going to play him that much. Even though I agree with you that against Boston, we definitely need to see somebody with that athleticism, with that downhill on pressure, like Ricky Council the fourth. We need to see these kind of players in the game, but I don't think Nick Nurse is going to play him. DFJ, Rick. Yeah, I know he's like I said, he's fearless. Like he attacks the basketball. Just like I said, when you go in the playoffs and teams are able to scheme your game, teams are gonna force you to do things that you don't want to do. So what does Ricky Council not like doing? I mean, I'm not gonna say not like doing, but he's not great. He's not a great shooter. And if teams realize that, every time he drives, they're gonna pack the paint, just like they do to Giannis when they play that pack line defense on him to force him to take mid range shots and force him to be a playmaker. And that would be the same thing that teams are gonna do to Ricky Council the fourth if he doesn't work on his game. But I mean, bro, we watched him play. You and I watched him play, and you can't fight that he's not a good shooter. You can't fight that part. uh, he says, I'm playing Ricky Council the fourth over Toby if Toby isn't making the shots. Better defender, and he could be a secret weapon teams don't know how to game plan for. Bro, you really think somebody who attacks the basket constantly, teams are not going to be able to scheme? You think teams are not going to be able to scheme that? If you play against the Miami Heat, that's going to be very, very easy for them, because they have shown you constantly that they can build that pack line defense. They can build that wall and stop you. We've seen that with Giannis, and that's something that would definitely hinder Ricky Council the fourth if he's not working on that 3-point shot. Now, I'm not saying he's a terrible free throw. I mean, a terrible shooter, but he's not consistent with it. Now, we haven't seen him that much on the NBA floor, so it's like a small sample size. But I mean, have you ever seen Ricky Council make 5 threes in a row? Because I haven't seen that. And the three that he made in the corner, that was great. But that was against, but like Bruce said, that was against the Pistons. Can he do it against the Boston Celtics, like you're saying? That is yet to be seen. But I'm not. I have faith in him. But me personally, I'm not playing a rookie on. I'm not playing an undrafted rookie over Tobias Harris. I'm not. I'm not doing that, bro. He says not if Joel is getting double team. You're yeah, you're typing a little bit faster for me, so I just need to kind of like go with the comments. But yeah, because I kind of don't understand this comment right here, bro. His passing abilities are ridiculous. JJ, come on, bro. Okay, as a passer, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank him? Because as a passer, I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. I'm not. Yeah, I'm giving him a 5 out of 10. But that's that. But let me just get into the second quarter right here. Let me just finish this off. And that's the second quarter is when DeAnthony Melton checked into the game and he hits a three off a Joel Embiid, dribble handoff. Now, Embiid does get a lot of guys, open shots. And just like my guy Jason Joseph said, Buddy Hield was cooking from the three. And yeah, DeAnthony Melton checked in, he hit a three, and the Sixers then proceeded to go on a 10-2 run in the second quarter. And in the second quarter is when the Sixers started making threes because they ended the first quarter without any 3 pointers. The only three they made was the three that Ricky Council the fourth hit in the corner, and that was a buzzer beating 3-point shot. Shout out to Ricky Council. That's my guy. Uh I'm not trying to bash him, but it's called constructive criticism. Yeah, I think he needs to work on his game, but he's still a rookie, so he has time. He has time to definitely work on his game. This is first year, so he definitely has time to work on that three, work on his shot creation from the perimeter, and also be a better passer as well. Even though my guy Jason Joseph says he has uh his passing abilities are ridiculous. I mean, I don't see it. Maybe I haven't watched him enough, but I'm not gonna say JJ. I'm not gonna say you're lying, but maybe I just need to see more to be impressed. So I think maybe that's it. But yeah, the Sixers started making a lot of threes in the second quarter, and that's when Embiid started playmaking because he was getting double teamed and he was finding open shooters. He was doing his job finding open shooters, and the shooters were also doing their job by making shots. Buddy Hield, like my guy Jason Joseph said, he came in the game and I think he was 5 of 9 from the three, something like that. Yeah, he was 5 of 9 from the three, and he was getting a lot of wide open looks from Joel Embiid, and they were running a lot of dribble handoffs, a lot of pick and rolls. And there was a play. They ran this pin down action where he came from the baseline and he curled up to the wing and he shot the three. Now that action was so that was a good play, and I definitely need to give what you call. I definitely need to give Nick Nurse a lot of credit for drawing up that play because usually you don't see Buddy Hield come off pin downs like that. So shout out to Nick Nurse for drawing up that play. Um, he says, well, to be fair, he needs his conditioning. Yeah, he definitely does. But me personally, I don't think against the Pistons would have been. I think against the Magic on Friday because the Magic are a playoff team, and that game is going to have playoff implications. So I think that was the game where you should have played him 35 or 30. How many minutes did he play? He played, yeah, 35.4, 35 minutes and 49 seconds. So let's say 36. Let's round it up. So I think against the Orlando Magic, that's when you should have played him that many minutes. But I mean, playing him 35 minutes in this game right here, I mean, I don't have any issues with it. But I do anticipate Nick Nurse playing him, 30 plus minutes against the Orlando Magic. Because, like I said, that game is going to have some playoff implications. And I mean, playing him so many minutes, I mean, he had that when he was going for that loose ball and he kind of like tripped. I mean, he stumbled and that knee buckled a little bit. The right, is it a right or left knee? One of the knee that he had surgery on, it buckled a little bit. And I had to kind of like hold my breath because I thought maybe that knee was I thought he probably re-aggravated it or something, but they called the timeout, and when they came back, he was still playing. So maybe it was a sign that his knee could still take a beating like that or take that stress, and he'll still be fine. So maybe maybe that what happened there shows us that his knee is perfectly okay, and that knee can definitely take a lot of stress. Um, My guy JJ says if he's going to play 38 minutes in the playoffs, he needs to build that up. So if he's going to play a lot, I need him to rack up those minutes with only two games left. DFJ. I mean, I agree. I agree with what you said. I agree with what you said. Maybe I'm coming from a different perspective, but yeah, him playing all those minutes, I don't have any issue. But I mean, I'm just saying that I would have preferred that he played, maybe last minutes and against the Magic, that's when play him that many minutes. But I mean, if Nick Nurse's plan is to play him, 30 plus minutes from the game against the Pistons and the Orlando Magic and the Brooklyn Nets, I don't have any issues with that because, like you said, they definitely need to ramp him up. And in the playoffs, he's going to play 35 plus minutes. So you definitely want to get him ready for that. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I'm not gonna fight that. Sign Rick. I mean, yeah, trust me. If that was in my hands, bro, I would have been signed him. But I mean, we that is not in my hands. But I mean, shout out to Jeff Dowtin Jr. for getting his contract converted into a standard contract. I like what Jeff Dowtin Jr. brings to the table. I like his game. I like his mentality. But he's not the athlete that Ricky Council is. But I don't at this point. I just think it's too late for the Sixers to convert his contract, and we'll probably maybe hopefully we can see him next year. Hopefully he returns next year. Hopefully the Sixers sign him next year. But I just think it's too late for the Sixers to convert his contract into a standard contract. So yeah, it's easy. Come on, Josh Harris and Dave Blitz. I mean, yeah, but bro, and I know Josh Harris doesn't really care about basketball. So man, that's crazy though. But they have shooters now. You talking about the Sixers? Yeah, we have shooters, but I mean, when Ricky Council is left in the corner wide open, yeah, we definitely need him to make. I'm not saying Ricky he's a terrible shooter. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying I need to see more to be impressed. That's all I'm saying. Um, and he's not the primary. If we're still talking about Ricky Council, yeah, he's not the primary ball handler, but what does he like doing? He likes to attack. He likes slashing to the basket. So when you're slashing to the basket, you have the ball. So teams are gonna, they're gonna pack the paint. They're gonna force you to, shoot the three. They're gonna pack the paint. They're gonna play drop coverage on you. They're gonna play drop coverage, but they're still gonna have that pack line defense. So when they play that drop on you, they're forcing you to take those jump shots. So when they force you to take those jump shots, you have to make it. You don't want to let the defense off the hook by not making those open shots. Or when they pack the paint, they force you to be a playmaker. And Ricky Council doesn't strike me as somebody who's a good playmaker. Bro, you're not gonna convince me that he's a good playmaker. I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna buy that at all. But as somebody who attacks, like I said, he generates like rim pressure. Like I love that. I love that mentality because that's something that he does that Tobias Harris doesn't do. And that's one of my biggest issues with Tobias is him not going downhill and trying to like impose his will on the game. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. I have in the G League. Uh in terms of him making shots, bro, bro, the G League is different from the NBA. You know it, bro. And just like you told me once, you saw Paul Reed making shooting jump shots in the G League, but in the NBA, it's a little bit different. We saw this with Jaden Springer. Shout out to Jaden Springer. He's with the Boston Celtics. I remember hearing Keith Pompey saying that Jaden Springer he took 100 threes and he made about 60. He made like a lot of them in a row, but that's the G League. And the G League, the game in the G League is way different from the game in the NBA. So, yeah. Shout out to my guy, Mishkovsky. What's good, bro? I appreciate you for stopping by. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah. Yeah, you saw him make three. You saw him make eight in the G League, but have we seen him make eight in the NBA? Now he hasn't played a lot of games, so he has a small sample size in the NBA. I mean, I don't know how many games he's played in the NBA. I could just look it up real quick, but like I said, he hasn't played that much in the NBA. So, judging him is a little bit unfair in terms of him shooting threes. It's a little bit unfair, but let me look at how many games he's played so far in the NBA. So he's played in 30 games. So 30 games, but the minutes are not as consistent. So we can't really judge him off of that. So yeah, you're crazy. Bro, come on, man. Come on, man. But let me get into the third quarter. I'll get into the comments later. But um the third quarter is when the Pistons started making their run, and that's when the Sixers started. I don't know. They took their foot off the gas, and they were fouling a lot. I think in the third quarter, Embiid picked up his fourth foul. I mean, it was a bad call on the refs. I mean, I'm not gonna blame Joel for that because, like I said, Embiid was dominating everybody. He was dominating the Pistons, and he was also creating open shots for his teammates. Um he was creating shots for Harris. He was creating shots for Kelly Oubre. He was creating shots for Buddy Hield, like we said, and he was using his gravity to be a playmaker. Now, which is good. It is good that he's using his gravity to be a playmaker. But sometimes Embiid has this tendency where he'll get double teamed and he still won't pass the ball. And when he decides to pass the ball, he ends up turning it over. Now he did make some good passes. Don't get me wrong. I mean he finished with 8 assists. He should have had more assists, but guys did make shots. There was a play where Jeff Dowling Jr. Embiid gave him this bounce pass, and he ended up smoking the layup because he was. I think he was surprised that he was that wide open, but I mean, you need to convert on those. So Embiid could have had more than 8 assists in this game. He was making some good passes, but Embiid also had 5 turnovers. Now, some of the turnovers, like I said, I mean, him getting double teamed and not, wanting to pass the ball. And then when he finally decides to pass the ball, it's just like he ends up telegraphing the pass and, somebody in the passing lane picks it up. But some of his passes or some of his turnovers, it felt to me as though he was a little bit gassed. And when you're gassed, like when you're out of breath or, when you're gassed, you end up making some decisions or you end up, making some bad reads, and some of his the reads that he was making and ended up with him, turning the ball over. But I mean, I'm not really gonna bash him for 5 turnovers. I mean, his assist to turnover ratio is 8 to 5. So I mean, he only had 3 assists if we, want to play the advanced analytics game. And I mean, it's not bad. If you have more turnovers than assists, that's when, is a big issue. But I hope Embiid can, like my guy JJ saying here, he wants Embiid to play more minutes, and by him playing more minutes, he'll get into game shape, and he'll make better decisions, passing the ball. Because if you're going up against the Pistons and you're having 5 turnovers, when you go up against the best teams or the better teams, your turnovers are gonna go up more than that. And I think against the Grizzlies, he had 7 turnovers, something like that. So the turnovers are a little bit higher, but hopefully he can get it. He can get it lower. We want to see 1 or 2. And in the first half, he only had I think 1 or 2 turnovers. It was in the second half where um they started putting 2 on the ball, and instead of him, passing it that early, he was holding on to it, and then when he finally decides to pass it, that's when he turns it over. And we definitely don't want to see that, especially in the postseason, because teams are going to capitalize on it, and teams would definitely make the Sixers pay for it if Embiid wants to be a ball stopper. Now he is a ball stopper, but hopefully he's not doing that. He's not a ball stopper that much in the postseason, because you want to play fast, you want to score quickly in transition, and the Sixers are one of the best transition. offensive teams in the game. I mean, we have Maxey, Cameron Payne, Buddy Hield. Like these are fast players. So sometimes we score quickly in transition. Now, one thing I hate is when Embiid brings the ball up the floor, bro. You're not fast. I don't want my 7-footer bringing the ball up the floor because we miss out on fast break opportunities. I just want you to get the rebound, pass it to a guard, and get ready to set a screen or get ready to get in position to catch the ball in the post. I don't want you bringing the ball up the floor because that's not, in my opinion, I don't think that is efficient offense. That's one of my, that's two of my issues with Embiid. The turnovers need to come down. When you get it, I get it. I mean, the Sixers, anybody can be a grab and go guy. Like when you get it off the rebound, you can just push it. But when Embiid gets it, I just want him to pass it to a guard, pass it to a forward, or pass it to a wing player, and you get ready to set a screen, get ready to get in secondary position, or just do something like that. I don't want you bringing the ball up the floor. Now you might get away with it against the Pistons, but when you play some of these faster teams that score quickly in transition, like the Pacers are one of the faster teams. You want to match their pace, and you want to score as quickly in transition. You want to score as quickly on the fast break. And Embiid, if he's bringing the ball up the floor, we're not going to score quickly in transition. The defense has a better chance getting their defense set. Now Embiid can score on whoever he wants, but sometimes you just want to score quickly, and that was something that Jeff Dalton Jr. was doing. He'll push the ball early in transition, and the Sixers will score easily. He'll find Kelly Oubre on a cut, and Kelly Oubre would dunk it. Now, speaking of Kelly Oubre was solid in this game right here, but I just want him to be sometimes when he goes downhill, the same issue that Ricky Council has. When Kelly Oubre goes downhill, he's not looking to pass; he's looking to score. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes they pack the paint, and when they pack the paint, somebody's definitely open. But Kelly Oubre, that's not his game to be a facilitator. All he knows is to go downhill and generate rim pressure. Now he does get to the free throw line sometimes, but sometimes he doesn't get the call that much, and he doesn't get to the free throw line as much. And those leave the Sixers with empty possessions, and it would have been better if he found whoever the open shooter was and kicked it out to him, and that would have been a better shot as opposed to going to the basket and going up against two or three guys contesting you at the basket. So yeah, that's Kelly Oubre. But I mean, he was solid. Other than that, he played some good defense. I really loved the energy that he plays with. I love his effort, and I'm not bashing Kelly Oubre. JJ says I'm okay with him bringing the ball up because he gives the defense attention, and he's a threat from anywhere. Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. But like I'm saying, sometimes we can score quickly in transition. I mean, on the fast break, and sometimes MB doesn't even have to get all the way up the floor. Like just when you pass it to a guard, Maxi's fast, Jeff Dowden is fast, Cameron Payne is fast. We can score, like we can get those easy points. And instead of him, always, holding onto the ball and being a ball stopper, like you don't want to start your offense with 12 seconds left on the shot clock. That puts some type of pressure on you. But that's all I'm saying. He brings it up the floor, but I don't want it to be that frequent. That's all I'm saying. He's a guard center. He got a screen from Buddy on an inbound and made a three in the corner. I saw that play. That was a good play. That was a good block play, baseline out of bounds play that Nick Nurse drew. And Buddy Hield set that flex screen for him to kind of like curl in the corner. Now the NBA is really really evolving. I mean, you got centers coming off screens, curling into the flash into the corner for a three. That is amazing. But that is not like anything I've seen. Yeah, what I'm saying. But to your point, if we need quick points, defer Joel. That's all I'm saying, bro. Now I'm glad we're getting somewhere, bro. I'm glad we're getting somewhere. I'm still annoyed you actually thought I said Ricky Council the fourth is a great passer. But when you were talking about Embiid, that's where I made that comment. Oh, okay. So you were saying Embiid. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, good. Because yeah, I would have been surprised if you said Ricky Council is a great passer because like you and I both watched him in the G League and he wasn't really making any extraordinary passes. Like I mean, maybe I forgot because the game was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but yeah, Ricky Council is not a great passer. Embiid, I'm not even gonna call Embiid a great passer. I'm gonna say a good passer. I don't like giving I don't like throwing the word great out that much often. So yeah, that's that. Yeah. All right, my bad, bro. That was my fault. That definitely was my fault. I thought you were talking about Ricky Council, but yeah, Ricky definitely needs to improve in that aspect of his game. Now, in the third quarter, let's not get off track. But in the third quarter, I mean, the Sixers, picking up some dumb fouls. I mean, they were getting called for some, easy tap fouls, and then B picked up his fourth. Now, when he picked up his fourth, I thought he was gonna sit. I thought he was gonna go to the bench, but Nick Nurse didn't. I mean, Nick Nurse didn't bench him. So Nick Nurse didn't bench him. So yeah, uh, come on, come on, DFJ. For a center, he's a great passer. I mean, yeah, you have a point, but bro, I don't like giving out the word great. Like, bro, trust me. I've had multiple debates on like a lot of platforms just for me to say the word great to some players. I'm not gonna give it to you. I need to be impressed. So you gotta impress me, bro. You gotta impress me. But I mean, yeah, for a center, yeah, that's I mean, apart from Jokic, Demonis Sabonis, um, and a few other centers like Embiid, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll give him great. Yeah, okay, he's great. He's a great passer. But yeah, the Sixers took their foot off the gas pedal, and that's when the Pistons started making a run, and they got it close in the third quarter. They got it close to one. Now, I don't think the Sixers ever trailed in this game right here, but the closest that the Pistons got it to was 70 points, but the Sixers were able to, you know, hold them off, and they were able to go on runs, and that eventually put the game away. And Buddy Hield was sensational in that second half for us. Now, there's this issue that I have with Buddy Hield. Now, I'm glad he shot. He found his 3 point. His 3 point shooting. Now, these are the teams where you need to, get into rhythm because the Pistons are not a good team. So these games right here, those are the easy games where you need to get your rhythm. But Buddy Hield has this tendency where he misses easy bunnies at the rim. Now, sometimes I don't know if he gets scared of the trailing defender behind him, but it's like, bro, just finish. Don't be scared of anybody. I looked up his percentages, and from 0 to 3 feet, he's only shooting like 15% from the rim. That is horrendous. But that's Buddy being Buddy, and it didn't happen just once. It happened twice. He smoked 2 layups at the rim. I mean, Jay, I know you definitely saw that because you called the game. He smoked 2 layups at the rim. These are easy points. Now, like I'm saying, if he had converted those opportunities, and B probably would have had more than 8 assists. So that's Buddy Hill. That's the only negative that I have to say. But I was glad that he was coming off screens, coming off pin downs, coming off some floppy actions as well, and shooting threes. Now he did take some dumb threes that he wasn't supposed to take. Like that three in transition. I think it was in the fourth, and he missed it badly. He missed it badly. It was too long. That three, I don't think he should have took it. He should have waited and just pass it off and get into a secondary action. Come off a screen or something. But he forced it up early, and that was a bad shot in my opinion because we still had 15 seconds on the clock. But overall, what you call it, Buddy Hield had a solid game. I'm glad that he had 18 points. He also gave you 6 rebounds. That is good. 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of 3. I mean, 5 of 9 from the 3 point line. That is great for Buddy Hield. So shout out to Buddy Hield. Shout out to Buddy Hield for finding his shot. Hopefully, he can keep this against the Orlando Magic and against the Brooklyn Nets. So the Sixers could definitely win games. Now, Tobias Harris, like I said, he came back. He finished with 15 points, 12 rebounds. Yeah, he did get on the glass. He was cleaning the glass at a rate that I really, really appreciated. And in the third quarter, we saw a lineup where what you call it, Embiid and what you call it, Paul Reed was in the same starting lineup, and Paul Reed was at the four. Now, this was something I envisioned in the offseason. I wanted to see some lineups where Embiid gets on the floor with um Paul Reed because I just felt like we could have used Embiid as a safety, as a like a roamer, and then use or deploy Paul Reed on those big forward players like a Giannis or like a Julius Randle or some of these big forwards, a Tatum, in the Eastern Conference, or even a Bam Adebayo. But we haven't really seen that. I think we saw it in the previous game. I forgot the game that we saw Paul Reed and Joel Embiid. But me personally, I liked it. Now, do I want to see it more? Yes, I definitely want to see it more. I just want to see what it looks like. I just want to see how successful the Sixers would be if they have both Paul Reed and Joel Embiid on the floor at the same time. Yeah. Um, Yeah, yeah. As a center, yeah, and like I said, I mean, I'm gonna only put Jokic and Sabonis over Embiid as a passer. I mean, if there's any big man passer that I'm forgetting, you can tell me. Uh, I think if Buddy makes his threes and Oubre continues to give you 20, I'm telling you, that elevates the Sixers to a new level. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, because that when that happens, that takes some pressure away from Embiid because teams are not gonna throw the kitchen sink at him or not gonna put two or put three on the ball because if you put two or three on the ball, Buddy Hield can kill you from the three. Kelly Oubre could be a threat to give you 20 at any single time. So teams are going to play the Sixers very differently. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that for sure. For once, this team has guard depth, like you said, and they have the right pieces around the big man. This is why I think they have a good shot against anyone in the league. Absolutely. But bro, I don't want to play the Knicks in the first round. I've said this now. I'm gonna get into this in a few minutes here. Let me just finish the fourth quarter, my observations in the fourth quarter. But yeah, Embiid, and Paul Reed in the lineup. That was cool, and we saw an Embiid and Paul Reed 2-man game. I mean, Embiid hit him with a bounce pass on a cut, and he was able to finish strong. So I love that play, and that was a play that the Sixers really ran a lot in this game right here, and I was surprised that the Pistons didn't really do anything to kind of stop it because if a team keeps running the same play over and over again, you should definitely make the adjustment. You should definitely make the adjustment to stop them from doing it. So Monty Williams, I don't know what you were doing, but yeah, it is what it is. And Embiid, he got to the free throw line. He was getting some MVP chance, but I mean, it's too late. It's too late to and I mean, he is the Sixers MVP. I mean, the Sixers have won six in a row. We've won five in a row with him in the starting lineup or since his return. And the last time we won five in a row, I can't even remember. That was back in January. So back in January, I think so. Yeah, but the Sixers, they finished this game with 33 second chance points, and Detroit only had 9. So, you know, huge shout out to the Sixers for, getting on the glass and, getting those offensive rebounds and getting second chance points out of it. The Sixers are not a really good rebounding team, but against the Pistons, I guess um, that really helped us. And Tobias giving you 12 rebounds and Embiid giving you 11. And Buddy Hield coming off the bench and giving you 6. That was really huge. That was really huge for the Sixers. And the Sixers ended up out rebounding Detroit by seven rebounds. And they moved the ball more than the Pistons. The Sixers finished with 29 assists. Pistons had only 20. Now, this was a good game, and it was great that Embiid played that many minutes. But I just got scared for a little bit because he stumbled, and that knee did buckle a little bit. But uh, nothing is wrong with it. He did come back in the game, and he finished Um, he was trying to stat pad to 40 when he was taking those outside shots. But yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I mean, players stat pad all the time, so there's nothing wrong with Embiid trying to get to 40 points. That would have been great for him. Yeah, that definitely would have been great for him. But this Sixer team, Maxi didn't play. Kyle Lowry didn't play. Hopefully, they're good to go against Orlando because that game is going to have some playoff implications. And if you're the Sixers, you definitely want to get out of the play-in and be the sixth seed. I mean, the sixth seed and the seventh seed, in my opinion, I think it's the same thing. I mean, just that if you're the seventh seed, you have to, go to the play-in tournament and defend your the position that you're in, defend you being in the seventh seed. But if you're the seventh or sixth seed, to me it's the same thing because if you win your first round matchup, you have a chance of seeing each other in the second round. Now, if you're the sixth seed, you have home court advantage. Yeah, I mean, I'm speaking in terms of if the sixth seed is able to beat the third seed, and if the seventh seed is able to beat the second seed, and vice versa. I just believe it's the same thing. My guy JJ says that Embiid and Reed lineup could also work against Boston. Yeah, I mentioned Boston. I mentioned Miami, and I mentioned New York because New York has this. I mean, Julius Randle's hurt, so he's not going to play. But yeah, it definitely could. I called it Reed. Hey, you were creative with that name. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Let's talk about Toby in that fourth quarter and give Nick Nurse his flowers for not bringing him back until it was over. You and I both know a stubborn coach that would play him still if he was off. I mean, yeah, he just returned, so he wasn't really trying to play him that many minutes. And the Sixers, I mean, we were doing just fine, so it was just okay to keep him on the bench and give Jeff Dowling Jr., give the other players, give them some burn. I think Jeff Dowling Jr., Paul Reed did check into the game. He played some minutes. Buddy Hield was giving us some, productive minutes when he came in the game. Campaign, everybody. So I don't think it was that necessary to bring in Tobias Harris because his knee is not. I mean, his knee's not that good, but yeah, Tobias did play 28 minutes, so he was under the 30-minute threshold. So I mean, I don't have any issues with it. 15 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and he was playing. He was playing some bully ball against Malachi Flynn. Now, Tobias does punish when he gets those mismatches under the basket. He does punish the guards, but when he goes up against guys that are his size, he's not able to take advantage of that of that matchup. The problem is the Knicks are the third seed. I need Milwaukee to win today against Orlando. Wait, did the Magic play today? Oh wow. I need Milwaukee to win today against Orlando for that reason too. Yeah, I mean, I want the Knicks in the fourth seed, so the Knicks will play the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hey, tune in sports. I'm not trying to pick on the Cavs, bro, but I just want to see that. I just want to see that matchup again because what they did to y'all last year, it really pissed me off because I didn't want to see y'all just get bounced in round one, and especially in 5 games, bro. If I'm the Cavs, I definitely want to see this team again. I want that run back. I definitely, I definitely want my rematch again. I definitely want to see that because what they did to the Knicks, I mean, what they did to the Cavs, that was so sad to watch. And just like you said, Tuna Sports, you said this Cavs team is not what it was last year. You said last year y'all had these, unplayable guys. You had these mismatches on the floor. You didn't have enough shooters. You had Jetty Osman. You had Lamar Stevens. Shout out to Lamar Stevens. He's from Overbrook, 15 minutes away from me. Shout out to him. And you said y'all had all these clowns. I mean, not clowns, but all these unplayable players. That's why the Cavs came up short. But this year, it's a different team. You have Max Struess, you have George Niang, who looks like a UPS delivery driver, and you have Marcus Morris Sr. Right? And who else am I missing? You have shooters now, so I definitely want to see that matchup for sure. Yeah, I definitely I want to see that. I definitely want to see that. The Magic play the Bucks today and on Sunday. Wow. I mean, the Bucks. Hopefully, Giannis is good to go in the postseason because that calf injury didn't look too good. And now I'm glad it wasn't an Achilles tendon strain. So, glad that he escaped that. But if I'm the Bucks, I'm definitely resting him. I'm not. He has to heal that. He has to heal that calf strain. JJ says, Doc, you owe us. You said you help us get a ring, man. So you think he'll let the Bucks lose to help us? So you want the Sixers in the 7th seed? That's what you're saying. And if that's what you want, that's yeah, yeah. If that's what you want, but yeah. But I mean, if you want I don't know what seed you want the Sixers in. No, I want them as a 60. Yeah, that's what I want to. That's what I want to. And before I came on live, I was talking to some of my youngins, and I was telling them like in the first round matchup, in a first round playoff series, you don't really want to go 7 games because that really, going 7 games in the first round, that's, game sevens are full of adrenaline. And when you get to a game seven, anything could happen. And me personally, I don't trust the Sixers in a game seven. Now I'm just now I'm saying this to say that I don't want to play the Knicks in round one because I believe that series is going to be a 7 game dogfight. That series is going to be a dogfight. And it's going 7 games. And I don't trust the Sixers in game seven. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but in the Joel Embiid era, the Sixers haven't won a game seven. I mean, not that I've seen. They lost to Toronto in 2019, lost to Atlanta in 2021, and lost to Boston in 2023. So the Sixers are not good in game seven. So I don't want to see the Sixers in the game seven. I don't trust them. That's all I'm saying. And you don't want to play a team, you don't want to go 7 games in a series, especially in the first round. Now, we have seen some teams that, went 7 games in round one and ended up winning the championship. There's always an exception to the rule. And an example is the 2008 Boston Celtics. And guess who the coach was? Doc Rivers for the Celtics. And that series wasn't supposed to go 7, but Doc being stubborn, that series did go 7. But if you're a championship contender, like championship teams don't want to go 7 games. Now, let's look at the last 5 NBA champions and let's look at their first round matchups and how many games they went. So 2023, the Denver Nuggets, they went 5 games with the Minnesota Timberwolves. In 2022, the Golden State Warriors, they went 5 games with the Denver Nuggets without Jamal Murray. In 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks, they swept the Miami Heat. Thomas Talented. You said Eric Spoelstra never got swept. Milwaukee swept them in 2021. So, yeah, that's that. And in 2020, the Lakers went 5 games with the Portland Trailblazers. And in 2019, the Toronto Raptors went 5 games against the Orlando Magic. So the past NBA champions, they don't really go too many games in the first round. They take care of their matchups in 4 games or 5 games. So if you really want to make a deep postseason run, if you want to make a deep playoff run, you should look to, take care of your first round matchup in 4 games or five and get those extra rest days. Now, against the Knicks, I don't see the Sixers taking care of them in 4 or 5 games. I just don't see it. I believe it's gonna be a 7 game dogfight. That's how I see it. Now, you can. I know some people may agree, some people may disagree, but yeah, that's how I see it, and that's why I don't want to play the Knicks in round one. I need them to. Oh, you want the Milwaukee Bucks to be okay? I need to take a look at the standings because I haven't looked at it in a minute. So yeah, but I really don't want the Sixers to be the 5th seed. I mean, if they're the 5th seed, they play. I mean, the standings. It's everybody's a little bit too close. If Milwaukee lose their last 2 or 3 games, I think they drop to the 7th seed or something like that. So this year's the Eastern Conference is a lot closer. It's kind of like what it was for the Western Conference last year, where the Lakers were only like a game or a game and a half from the 4th seed or something like that. So yeah, but I don't want Boston in round two. You want Boston in the conference finals? I mean, me personally, I think the playoffs begins in round two. I think the first round, if you're really a championship contender, the first round should be a cakewalk for you. Like I said, you should look to take care of them in 4 or 5 games. Now, 6 games, that's a standard series, which is fine. But me personally, I think the if you're a championship contender, the playoffs start for you in the second round. That's when it gets serious because okay, we're no longer in the first round, and it's win or go home, and whoever wins this gets to the conference finals, and you're one step away from, making it to the NBA finals. So yeah, that's how I feel. But I'm taking the fifth over the playing. Yeah, bro, you don't want to be in the playing tournament. The playing tournament is fun when your team is not in it, but when your team is in it and it's a one game elimination type thing, bro, you definitely don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be in that position. No, but we got to play Boston round two if we get the fifth seed. Yeah, so bro, make up your mind, bro. Nah, Boston is So yeah, Boston is the first seed. They're not moving. So the fourth or fifth seed, the winner of the fourth or fifth seed plays Boston in round two. So if you want to avoid the Boston Celtics, the Sixers need. If you want to avoid them to the conference finals, the Sixers need to be the seventh or sixth seed. So yeah, the Sixers need to be the seventh or sixth seed to avoid Boston. I don't know why you're trying to avoid Boston. I mean, Embiid needs to go through Boston because he's lost to them 3 times in the postseason. So I believe he has to go through them and beat them. Yeah, I mean, there's been some players that's lost to the same teams, 3 or 4 times. Harden lost to Golden State 4 times: 2015, 2016, 2018, and 2019, and he never got over the hump. So yeah, but overall, it's a good, it was a good team win for the Sixers, even though there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Buddy Hield, don't miss easy bunnies at the rim. Um, Kelly Oubre, when you're driving and you see that the lane is congested, bro, try to kick it out. Embiid, when you get double teamed, Embiid, bro, please get rid of the ball. Don't wait until it's too late to pass out of the double team. I'm not saying Embiid is not a good passer out of the double team, but sometimes he just holds onto the ball too long. And when you make that pass, it's kind of like easy for a defender to anticipate and play in the passing lanes, and then you end up turning the ball over. And sometimes you put your teammates in a tough situation because you're passing it to them with about 3 4 seconds left on the shot clock. And if you're passing it to somebody who can't create their own shot, that's a wasted possession. That's an empty possession. So Embiid needs to be better too. Embiid needs to be better. Make those passes very good. DeAnthony Melton didn't play that much. Played only 15 minutes. I'm glad that he's back. Tobias Harris, try to generate more rim pressure, right? Nico, I didn't really talk about Nico that much. Nico didn't really do anything special in this game right here. No, I take that back. That baseline out of bounds play, that was a good pass. I forgot who he passed it to, but that was a good pass. So yeah, shout out to Nico. He did play some good defense too. Yeah, shout out to Nico. And yeah, I think that's about it. Cameron Payne, played I think 25 or 26 minutes. He didn't really score that much. 5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Um, he was efficient. He only took 3 shots. So yeah, that was good. But just like I said, I mean, Cameron Payne pushes the pace, and he helps the Sixers play a lot faster when he's on the floor. When Maxi's on the floor, sometimes it takes him a long time to catch up with these guys because they're very fast. But yeah, but shout out to Cameron Payne, shout out to Nick Nurse as well. For running some good offensive sets in this game right here. Now Detroit in a few years they're going to be a very good team. They're still young. They have time to develop. They're one of the worst teams in the game, and Monty Williams needs to be better. Because like I said, I thought Monty was going to be the coach for the Sixers because I thought Nick Nurse was going to Milwaukee. but Giannis didn't want him, so the Sixers were able to grab him. So I'm glad we have Nick Nurse. But yeah, shout out to the Sixers. Shout out to the Sixers for winning this one. Shout out to everybody: Ricky Council, Jeff Doughton Jr., Paul Reed, everybody. I think Mobamba checked into this game. And we saw Taquavian Smith. Shout out to Turk. He looks like he's a buck 30. But if you see him in person, he's not as skinny as he looks on TV. But yeah, shout out to Turk. JJ said, I'm not avoiding them. I just want the true Eastern Conference Finals to be the Eastern Conference. Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Boston versus Philly should be the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, it should, but if the Miami Heat mess around and they are in the eighth seed, uh, that will be a difficult task for Boston because Boston usually that's a 7-game series that they should avoid. And the Miami Heat should avoid 7-game series too, even though they would have a good chance to beat the Boston Celtics. You definitely don't want to go 7 games in the first round. So yeah, that's that. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Sixers, Nico, Harris, Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Cameron Payne, or shout out to everybody. Everybody. I mean, a lot of guys were efficient in this game right here. I mean, Kelly Oubre was 6 of 16, and like I said, if he was playmaking a little bit more, if he was, trying to find open guys a little bit more, um, he probably wouldn't be as inefficient as he was. 37%. That's not really good. The Knicks don't scare me. I trust Nick Nurse. Should be a good series. I don't know who is going to stop Embiid, bro. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. I don't think. I don't think Tom Thibodeau is a good defensive coach. He's not going to let Embiid play 1-on-1 against Hartenstein. That's not going to happen. And if that happens, the Knicks should fire Tom Thibodeau after the series ends. Because if you play Embiid straight up 1-on-1, he'll average almost 30 against any team in the playoffs. So I don't see that happening. But I mean, I just don't want to play the Knicks because they're a tough, hard nosed defensive type team. They get on the glass. They're a good offensive rebounding team. They're probably top 5 in the game because that's Tom Thibodeau's coaching philosophy. He sends 2 or 3 guys to the offensive glass every single time. So yeah, that's that. They prefer getting offensive rebounds as opposed to getting back and getting your defense set, and that'd definitely be tough. And they're gonna throw bodies at Joel, and they have bodies. They have like I said, Hartenstein, Precious Achua, and they might throw some of these these scrappy guards on him. Dante DiVincenzo scrappy, Josh Hart is scrappy. These scrappy guards on him. So it'll definitely be a tough series. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be a 7-game series. And if you're a team, if you really want to make a championship run, you don't want to play 7 games in the first round. Now, there's always an exception to the rule, and there have been some teams that played 7 games and ended up winning the championship, like the Boston Celtics in '08. But typically, no team wants that. Typically, no team wants that. If you're a championship contender, the Knicks are a good team. The Knicks are a good team, though. I just feel confident with my. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, I feel confident too. But bro, sometimes you have to be realistic. The Sixers are not sweeping the Knicks, and it's not going 5 games either. They're winning this game in 6 or 7. So yeah, you're right about that. I still think we have the better team on, bro. Here's why the better team logic doesn't. It's not going to work. The Sixers were a better team in 2021, but they ended up losing to Atlanta. On paper, the Sixers were the better team, but you got to get on the floor. Now, I know what you're going to say. We don't have Doc Rivers, but we see better teams get outplayed every single time. In every playoff series, we see that. So the better team logic, I don't think that's gonna work. Shout out to my guy Mike Sports Vibes. What's good, bro? I appreciate you for stopping by. I did hit you up on the gram, bro. So you should look to get back to me. Joel Embiid is special, man. Dude just got back doing this MVP if he didn't get hurt. I mean, he was a runaway. I mean, he was doing stuff that we haven't seen since Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, the highest point per possession since Chamberlain when he averaged 50 in 1962, and that's what Embiid was doing. He didn't play a lot of fourth quarters because he had dropped 40 plus in three quarters. Embiid was definitely doing something special, and I'm just glad that he's back, and hopefully we can see where he can lead the Sixer team to. And I'm just tired of hearing this. Joel Embiid, he hasn't been out the second round. All right, bitch. It took Chris Paul 13 years to get to the conference finals. What does that mean? So that's that. But I appreciate you for stopping by, Mike Sports Vibes. Shout out to you. You're doing a hell of a job calling Sixer games, Phillies games too. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, bro. I didn't say they're sweeping. I mean, yeah, you didn't say that, but bro, it's like I'm saying, it's gonna be a dogfight regardless. Even though you might think the Sixers have a better team, I mean, on paper, but I mean, you still have to get on the basketball court and play. That was yeah, it was a collapse, but that's what I'm saying. The better team logic doesn't happen because what if I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but what if the Sixers get on the floor against the Knicks and they collapse? So yeah, I don't think the better team logic. Uh, I don't think it works. I'd be pissed if we collapse. Hey, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't see us collapsing. Yeah. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for stopping by. But this year's playoffs is gonna be, some of the we're gonna see some of the best playoff series that we haven't seen in a while, and a lot of legacies are gonna be on the line. I mean, Doc Rivers, a few others, the Clippers. Yeah, I mean, even though I have the Clippers going to the finals, even though I believe they're gonna lose in the finals. Um, yeah, I have the Clippers in the finals, and I mean, they demolished Phoenix. I have the Clippers and Phoenix in the conference finals in the West, but they demolished the Phoenix Suns, and that was something that I was expecting the Sixers to do. Just come in this game right here, take care of the Pistons early, and sit the fourth. But that didn't happen. The Lakers and the Warriors, this could be the end of their runs too. Uh, yeah, it's the Lakers. They don't have any run. Do they have a run? I mean, they won the championship in 2020. Yeah, and that was about it. In 21, they got to the first. They got to the first round, got bounced. 2022, they missed the playoffs. In 23, they went to the conference finals. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the Lakers had a run, but Golden State, yeah, it's over for them. Yeah, it's over for the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, it's their dynasty's over. If they're relying on Steph Curry to, make threes, I mean, they hit 26 threes last night, which do you expect them to hit 26 threes in every game from here on? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not trusting them to do it. I think last night was just an anomaly. I don't see it happening um going forward. I just don't see it. But I think I got through all the comments that I needed to get through. I appreciate you, JJ, for stopping by. I appreciate Mike Sports Advisors for stopping by. Mitch, you stopped by. I appreciate you for stopping by. I mean, I gotta start, dropping the links so y'all can, start giving what y'all, you know, give your thoughts on the game. I mean, JJ, you called the game, so your perspective will definitely be different from mine because I mean, you're seeing it from a commentator's, point of view. So yeah, I mean, next time I mean, even right now, if you're ready, I could drop the link so you could give me your thoughts on this game right here, and we could see how good the Sixers could get. I mean, this was game number 80 in the season, so the Sixers only have two more games left. They play the Orlando Magic on Friday, and they play the Brooklyn Nets on is it Sunday or Monday, whenever that is. And Brooklyn, I said this before, I'll say it again. Embiid hasn't lost to Brooklyn since March 10th, 2022. And I'll just leave it at that. Now, we did lose to Brooklyn's the last two times, but Joel Embiid didn't play. So if we have Joel on the floor, I would definitely favor the Sixers to beat the Brooklyn Nets. Even though it's a game that's not going to matter, they're probably going to sit their starters. But I don't think Embiid is not going to play. Embiid is definitely going to play in that game. He definitely is going to play because JJ, like you said, they're trying to ramp him up very quickly and trying to get him back in shape and get his endurance back up. So every game matters from this point on. Now I don't know if they practice today. I don't know if they're gonna rest today and then practice tomorrow, or practice today and rest tomorrow. But hopefully Embiid is doing something endurance like. Hopefully he's doing something to, get himself back in shape. Um, in the game, he did show, at spurts where he was gassed and he started taking threes, but he was not as gassed as he was last Tuesday when he played the OKC Thunder when he returned. So he's definitely making progress. He's definitely getting better, but yeah, it's just a tricky situation at this point. But or Mike, if you still on, I mean, I could drop the link so you could give me what you think about the game. You can make it quick. You can make it, however long you want to make it. And Jason, if you still in. Yeah, I could drop the link. So, you could give me your thoughts on this game right here. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I got. It was a good game. I mean, I did expect the Sixers to come up on top because it's the Pistons. And like my guy Bruce Barr said, "Come on, man, it's the Yeah, it is the Pistons, but I mean, we're not gonna sit up here and act like the Pistons haven't beaten teams that they weren't supposed to beat. Like we're not gonna do that. They've had some good victories, even though they lost 27 or 28 games in a row. Um, yeah, they're still. I mean, they're not as good as their record. I mean, their record doesn't really show you how good they are. I mean, they're not good, but they can definitely beat any team on any given day. And yeah, I definitely see them beating teams that they're not supposed to beat. Now the Sixers were lucky and they beat them 4 times this year. They swept them in the season series. But looking at the Pistons, they beat the OKC Thunder. So that's a good team in the Western Conference. That's one of the best teams in the Western Conference, and they beat them. So uh being the Pistons, I'm definitely taking that. Um, and I'm just glad Embiid is getting back. Uh, he's getting back in shape, and his shot is never gonna. He's super skilled, so his shot is never gonna be broke. Um, he was hitting some tough mid range shots, over double teams. I mean, even though those are bad shots, but he was still making them over Jalen Duran and Metu. Shout out to Metu. But yeah, overall it was a good game. And on to the next one, on to the Orlando Magic. On to the Orlando Magic. The Sixers finally have 2 days of rest. This is the first time they have 2 days of rest in about 2 months. Not in 2 months. In about since March. Yeah, I think since March they've been playing every other day, including back to backs. They've been playing every other day, so they can definitely use these 2 days. And Maxi and Kyle Lowry will definitely benefit off these rest days. I think they're gonna practice tomorrow. So yeah, I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Shout out to my guy Mike Sports Vibe. Shout out to Play by Play with JJ, Mitch Kofsky, my guy Bruce. Shout out to Tuna Sports, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Everybody on there. I rock with everybody on there. Shout out to Running Back Philly. Shout out to DJ Eastwood. Shout out to RB. Shout out to Sean Bernard. Shout out to everybody that rocks with me. Shout out to Tuna Sports. You know, I'll definitely cover the game against the Orlando Magic. I'll definitely do the post game reaction the next day. So that would be on Saturday morning. So I'll definitely cover that game. So I appreciate everybody that stopped by. This was great. We're trying to get to 100 subs. So if you're watching this and you haven't subbed to the channel yet, please make sure you sub to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. But above all, I appreciate all the support that I'm getting from y'all. Y'all have been showing some great support. I appreciate all the support from my guy JJ, Mike Sports Vibes, Mitchkovsky, and everybody that tuned in. But I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace and blessings.